Hi, hello, good evening. Welcome back to National IAS Academy. Dear friends, my name is Rajshekhar. I welcome you all once again to the Focus 300 initiative, under which so far we have successfully completed more than 270 topics, and we are left with few more topics in the upcoming two classes. These topics too shall be covered, and at the end of the series, you will have around 300 most important topics from the UPSC Civil Services preliminary examination perspective, and I shall expect, or I'm expecting, at least 35 questions based on these topics. Alright, so let us begin. These are the 10 topics which we shall be covering in today's class. The first among them is Digital India Land Records Modernization Program. You need to have 3 points here. First thing, it is concerned with which ministry? Ministry of Rural Development. When was it implemented? 2008. And which previous programs have been subsumed into this particular land records modernization program? That is the strengthening of revenue administration and updating of land records, and the computerization of land records. These two centrally financed programs have been combined and brought under the DILRMP. So these are the three important things that you need to remember from the examination perspective. And apart from that, what was the context? The context was recently a national level workshop called Bhumi Samvad was organized, and this national level workshop was organized to create awareness regarding the Digital India Land Records program, Digital India Land Records Modernization Program. So that workshop was called as Bhumi Samvada. That is the context, and this particular program is the brainchild of Ministry of Rural Development. That is the first point. It was implemented in the year 2008. That is the second point. Third point is two programs, that is SRA and ULR and CLR. These two programs have been subsumed into the DILRMP. That's it. This is more than sufficient. Next, the National Standards for Civil Service Training Institutions. What is it? It's a standard which was recently established where at the Capacity Building Commission's headquarters. At the Capacity Building Commission's headquarters, where is it located? It is located in the New Delhi, national capital, New Delhi. And this commission was established in the year 2021. And here, in this headquarters, the National Standards for Civil Service Training Institutions has been established. The objective is to provide a uniform set of standards with respect to civil services training institutions. This is a first of kind in the entire world, not just India. This is a first of its kind in the entire world. So, because of this, India now has become the first nation in the world to introduce a novel methodology for producing a national level standard for civil service training institutions. Alright. The national standards are created by the Capacity Building Commission in order to, why? To establish a baseline for central training institutes regarding their existing capacity, also to improve the capacity and quality of training delivery, and lastly to harmonize training standards. Alright, so where is it located? It is located at the premises of Capacity Building Commission. Where is this commission located? It is in New Delhi. It was established in the year 2021. Next, personality rights were in news. Why? Because Big B Amitabh Bachchan had approached the Supreme Court regarding the violation of his personality rights. What are these rights? Usually, these rights are associated with celebrities. These are rights concerning famous celebrities when, without consent, the voice, the face, or even the photographs of these celebrities are misused by various ad agencies. Then it leads to the violation of personality rights of those celebrities. I repeat, personality rights are the rights of usually the celebrities, under which without their consent, their name, their face, or even their voice can be misused. Alright, so that leads to violation of personality right. So a recent interim injunction was issued by the Delhi High Court to stop the unauthorized use of Bollywood stars' name, likeness, and voice. It came into the limelight after, without his consent, when the Big B's voice was used during COVID-19 pandemic times, he had to approach the Delhi High Court, and later on the case was once again promoted to the Supreme Court. Alright, because like Amitabh Bachchan the voices or the face of many celebrities are being misused. That too, in the context of AI, using AI, fake voices or fake faces of fake facial expressions of celebrities can be created. So, expressing concerns over the misuse of their personality rights or the violation of their personality rights, various celebrities had approached the Supreme Court of India. So, through its decision, the Delhi High Court recently prohibited the public from violating the actor's personality rights. So, what do you mean by personality right? It refers to a person's ability to safeguard his or her identity in the context of a property or privacy right, which is enshrined in the Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Alright, celebrities are concerned because they are worried since their names, images, or even voices may be inappropriately used in commercials by various businesses. This might obviously increase the sales, but however, their privacy is misused or violated. Next, Official Secrets Act was the news. Why? It has completed 100 years of its existence. When was it enacted? It was enacted even before the Britishers left India. So it was enacted in the year 1923. First of all, its applicability. It is applicable to all citizens residing inside or outside the country, inclusive of government servants. So please remember, the Official Secrets Act is applicable to all the citizens, those who are residing in India as well as those who are residing outside the country. Both are covered under this act. And why is it in use? It has recently completed 100 years of its existence. So, which acts or which what you can call act should be the probably the right statement or right word. So, which acts are covered under the Official Secrets Act of 1923? Spying, wrongful communication of any secret official code, password, or any such sketch, plan, model, article, note, document, or information. Anything that is concerned with the national security should not be shared at all. So if it is shared, it becomes an offense under the provisions of Official Secrets Act of 1923. The objective is to maintain security of the state against the leakage of information, sabotage, and like this, and like such matters. Alright. So the act imposes sentences that can range from 3 to sentence for life in jail. Also, hefty penalties can be imposed. Next is about the powers of ED and CBI, Enforcement Directorate and the Central Bureau of Investigation. Please remember, ED and CBI officials have got the powers to arrest individuals. ED is concerned with the implementation of two acts. One is Prevention of Money Laundering Act and Foreign Exchange Management Act. Implementation of the provisions of these two acts is the responsibility of the Enforcement Directorate. But please note that there is one basic difference between ED and CBI. What is it? See, CBI can register on its own certain cases, or it can directly start an inquiry into a particular case. That too, with the consent of states. Consent is required of particular the concerning state. However, ED cannot initiate any investigation on its own, which means it cannot initiate a case whenever there is a raid or there is some ongoing case concerned with some other department, maybe state police or CBI or CID, anything. Such cases can be taken up by the ED. However, in contrast, it cannot initiate on its own any case, right? Understood the basic difference? CBI can take up the case on its own, whereas ED cannot take up a case on its own. That is a fresh case. It can somehow get any case that it is concerned with transferred to itself. So this is the basic difference between ED and CBI, and officials in ED, that is Enforcement Directorate, include IRS officials, that is Indian Revenue Service, whereas in CBI you will have IPS, that is Indian Police Service officials. Alright, please remember both are not, CBI is not a statutory body. Most of you might get confused. Please remember, CBI is not a statutory body. However, it works under the provisions of Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. Right? Okay. And ED is concerned with Ministry of Finance. ED is working under the supervision of Ministry of Finance. right? Whereas CBI is concerned with the Ministry of Home Affairs, right? Okay. So this is the basic thing, basic difference between Enforcement Directorate and CBI. Next is about the granting of minority status in India. Recently, a case was ongoing in Supreme Court of India where the center had to intervene and it had to note that providing minority status or the power to provide minority status rests with both the center as well as state governments. So, which means it is a concurrent power. It is a concurrent power. The authority or power to grant minority status rests with both the governments, that is central government as well as state governments. So central government so far has granted minority status to 6 different communities. They are Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, Zoroastrians. So these 5 communities were provided the minority status in the year 1996. No, sorry, in the year 1993, whereas Jains were provided minority status in the year 2014. So these are the 6 minority communities at the central level that we have presently in the nation. So please remember, these 6 communities make up nearly 18.8% of the nation's population. And one more thing, I said that the context was case was ongoing in the Supreme Court of India. What was the case? See, few states have demanded for the right to grant minority status to various communities residing in those particular states. For example, let me explain. Hindu as a whole is a majority community in the entire country. But whereas in few particular states such as Mizoram, Meghalaya, Nagaland, these Hindus constitute a minority. They become a minority community in the entire state of Nagaland or Mizoram. They are less than 17% in numbers. So that's the reason a case was filed in the Supreme Court regarding the powers of granting minority status to various communities. So the center has clarified that both central as well as state governments have this particular concurrent power of granting minority status to various communities, and various constitutional provisions concerned with the minority include Article 29, Article 30, Article 350A. Article 350A is related to linguistic minorities, whereas Article 30 talks about both the types of minorities, both, that is linguistic and religious. Both are covered under Article 30 of the Indian Constitution. But please remember, the word minority has nowhere been defined in the Constitution. Please remember, the word minority has nowhere been defined in the Constitution of India. All right. Next, we have electoral bond scheme. It was introduced in the year 2017 and it was implemented in the year 2018. The idea was mooted in the year 2017 and it was implemented in the year 2018. So recently, electoral bonds have raised more than 10,000 crores in donations to political parties. All right. So what are electoral bonds? These are nothing but they are bearer instruments in the nature of a promissory note. They are basically interest-free banking instruments. So any private person or private entity who is willing to contribute a certain amount to a political party can buy these bonds from the State Bank of India. All right. So they are available. These bonds are available from the specified branches of the State Bank of India only. They are available in the denominations of 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakh, and 1 crore. All right. And who is eligible? A citizen of India or a body incorporated in India on fulfillment of all the extant KYC norms by making payment of a bank account, by making payment from a bank account. So these are the eligibility criteria. They are nothing but they are a promissory note, or a person who is willing to donate or contribute something to a political party can pay amounts in this in this multiples or in these denominations and buy a bond and submit it to the State Bank of India. So within 40 days, the concerned political party should be able to withdraw this amount. If not, that amount rests with the particular bank and it shall not go to the concerned political party. If if it is tried to withdraw after 15 days. So the time period is 15 days. So the shelf life of this electoral bonds is 15 days only. If you want to encash it, you can, or you should be able to encash it under 15 days. That's it. All right. So this is with respect to Article 29A of the Representation of People's Act of 1951. Right. So electoral bonds scheme was implemented in the year 2018. It was introduced in the year 2017. Please remember, the biggest concern with respect to the implementation of electoral bond scheme is that anonymity. You cannot actually write down the name of a person who is donating to a particular political party. Only the receiver's name can be written on these bonds or mentioned on these bonds, whereas the donor's name cannot be explicitly mentioned on these particular bonds. So that is the biggest concern we have with respect to the electoral bond scheme. All right. Next we have remote voting machine. The Union government recently informed the Supreme Court that it is thinking about implementing a remote voting system that would allow non-resident Indians, that is NRIs. See, presently, NRIs do not have any facility to cast their vote while being or while residing in abroad. So it becomes really difficult for them to come to India to vote during the times of election. Maybe because of financial constraints or travel expenses, etc. But to make way for these NRIs to vote, to cast their vote during elections, the government is thinking of implementing the remote voting machines. So this particular remote voting system would allow non-resident Indians, particularly migrant workers, to cast their votes while maintaining the integrity of the electoral process. So this is supposed to work on technology which we are all aware of, that is blockchain technology. Blockchain techno. All right. So officials from the Election Commission have suggested adopting blockchain technology to facilitate remote voting in way back in 2020. The goal is to remove voting's geographic restrictions. So, however, even now, till now, it has not been implemented. But please remember, these are just in the idea stage. They are not at all being implemented right now. However, the mechanism or technology on which it resides is blockchain technology, which is majorly used in the transaction of cryptocurrencies. All right. Next, what then are proxy voting and postal ballots? See, proxy voting refers to proxy voting is given to people working in armed services, army first of all, and second one is paramilitary forces. Because during the election times they are busy in their duty, checking the vehicles or ensuring the safe conduct of elections. So as a result, they cannot go to their hometown to cast their votes. So for those people who are working in army and paramilitary forces, the option of proxy voting is available. We all are aware of proxy attendance during our school times, college times, I hope, and I guess we all have did that. So proxy voting refers to casting of votes, casting of votes using third person or second person. A person who is working in army or paramilitary force can choose his proxy and ask him to vote on his behalf. So this voting takes place in person. Please remember, proxy voting also takes in person. Okay, in person. So the person who is casting his vote on behalf of a person working in army or paramilitary force goes to the election booth and casts his vote. However, there is one major difference, that is the person who is casting his vote on someone's behalf, that person will get the ink, that election ink, not on the forefinger but on the middle finger. So this is the basic difference. If you are casting your vote, you'll have this ink applied on your forefinger, whereas if you are casting a vote on behalf of someone else, then the ink will be applied on the middle finger. So this is proxy voting. Then what is postal ballot? A postal form will be given. So for service voters, notified voters, voters deputed in election duties away from their constituency, voters subjected to preventive detention, special voters such as President of India, Vice President of India, and wives of service voters and special voters. So these people shall be provided a form. After filling this form, they can send their ballots through the posts. So this postal ballot is available to these people. All right. This extended fund facility of IMF and Paris Club. Both these topics are different topics, but we have clubbed because the context was the same one. See, recently what happened, like we all know, the countries of Pakistan and Sri Lanka are undergoing a severe economic crisis, and as a result, they're in need of funds or credit facilities, which the IMF, that is International Monetary Fund, is extending these credit facilities under the Extended Fund Facility Program. However, it needs guarantors, it needs mediators, and in this context, the Paris Club has come to the forefront. What is it? The Paris Club is a club consisting of 22 countries. It is an informal group of 22 wealthy nations from across the world. It was established in the year 1956, immediately after the Argentina crisis. So the role of these 22 nations or the club is that they act as guarantors, or in some cases they even provide or extend credit facilities to the country which is undergoing a financial crisis, a severe financial crisis. So here recently what happened, this Paris Club has conveyed to the IMF that it will act as a guarantor for the Pakistan and Sri Lanka, and it can provide credit under the extended fund facility to these countries. All right. 22 countries are there under in the Paris Club, and these include Australia, Germany, USA, Ireland, Spain, Norway, Japan, Israel, Austria, France, Finland, UK, Netherlands, Canada, Denmark, Belgium, Brazil, Italy, South Korea, Russia, Sweden, Switzerland. These are the 22 countries which are part of the Paris Club. All right. Next is friend shoring was in news. What is friend shoring? Suppose, let me help. Let me explain with the help of an example. Imagine I'm a buyer. I want to buy a particular product. So immediately in my near vicinity, that is in my city, there are two sellers. One seller is my enemy, or with whom I am not in good terms. There are two sellers, seller A and seller B. Seller B is not in good terms with me, but he is selling the product which I want. And then there is seller A. I am not in touch with seller A, and I don't know him, he doesn't know me. Just purely for the sake of business, I have come to know about him. So in this case, instead of going to seller B with whom I am not in good terms, I would go with seller A because I have no grudge against him. So literally this means reducing trade relations with those countries with whom you are not having friendly relations, and opting for those countries with which you have friendly relations. It might be in terms of goods, products, services, or even raw materials. So this is called as friend shoring. All right. So this was in news. It literally means it is an abbreviation for the practice of shifting supply chains to nations with a minimal risk of disruption from political unrest. For example, in today's case, friend shoring refers to avoiding trade with countries such as Russia, Ukraine, Afghanistan, or Argentina or Venezuela because because of lack of political stability or because of the prevalence of political instability. So countries try to avoid trade with these countries, instead look for alternate countries, and that is called as friend shoring. All right. So that was it for today. Thank you so much for joining. See you in the next class. Take care. Bye bye. Have a nice day.